Have you ever heard of the queen whose life, though tragically short, set the course for one of the world's greatest empires? This isn't the story of her famous mother, Isabella of Castile, but of her eldest daughter, Isabella of Aragon, Princess of Asturias and Queen of Portugal. Her story is a dramatic saga of love, loss, and immense political power, a tale that reshaped the Iberian Peninsula forever. Born in 1470, Isabella was the firstborn child of the legendary Catholic monarchs, Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand II of Aragon. From the moment she drew her first breath, she was destined for greatness. As the heiress presumptive to the crown of Castile, she was named Princess of Asturias, a title reserved for the future ruler. Her parents, architects of a unified Spain, saw in their daughter the key to securing their legacy. Her education was second to none. She was schooled in Latin, history, and theology, displaying a keen intellect and a deep piety that would define her life. But for a princess in the 15th century, education was only one part of the equation. The other was marriage, the ultimate tool of diplomacy. And for Isabella, her marital destiny was inextricably linked with the neighboring kingdom of Portugal. Her first betrothal was to Prince Afonso, the heir to the Portuguese throne. Their marriage was a major political event, intended to forge a lasting peace between Spain and Portugal. When they married in 1490, it seemed like a fairy tale. The young couple was deeply in love, a rare and precious thing in the world of arranged royal marriages. Contemporary accounts describe their genuine affection and shared joy. It seemed that the future of Iberia was bright, held in the hands of this promising young couple. But then tragedy struck. Less than a year into their blissful marriage, Prince Afonso was killed in a tragic riding accident. Isabella was devastated, plunged into a profound grief. She believed the tragedy was a sign from God, a punishment for Portugal's policy of religious tolerance, which stood in stark contrast to her parents' staunch Catholicism. Overwhelmed by her loss, she returned to Spain, vowing to never remarry and to dedicate her life to the Church. However, the political needs of her parents' kingdom could not be ignored. The dream of a united Iberian Peninsula under a single ruler was too powerful to abandon. After several years of mourning, pressure mounted for Isabella to reconsider her vow. The new heir to the Portuguese throne was Manuel I, Afonso's cousin. He had been in love with Isabella for years and was eager to make her his queen. Isabella was deeply conflicted. Her heart was still with her deceased husband, and her spirit was drawn to a life of religious devotion. She agreed to marry Manuel, but only on one condition that would have massive and devastating consequences. She demanded that Manuel expel all Jews from Portugal who refused to convert to Christianity, mirroring the policy her own parents had enacted in Spain with the Alhambra decree. It was a harsh and terrible demand. For centuries, Portugal had been a relative haven for Jews who had fled persecution elsewhere. King Manuel was reluctant. He valued the Jewish community for their contributions to the economy, science, and culture. But his desire to marry Isabella, and thus unite the crowns of Spain and Portugal through their future children, was stronger. In 1497, he acquiesced. He married Isabella and issued the Edict of Expulsion. Thousands were forced to convert under duress or flee the only home they had ever known, marking a dark chapter in Portuguese history. With this grim condition met, Isabella became the Queen of Portugal. She was now in an unprecedented position of power. Not only was she the Queen of Portugal, but following the sudden death of her only brother Juan, she also became the heiress to the unified crowns of Castile and Aragon once more. Her future child would be the undisputed heir to the entire Iberian peninsula, from the Pyrenees to the Atlantic. The dream of her parents was on the verge of becoming a reality. In August 1498, in the city of Zaragoza, Queen Isabella gave birth to a son, Miguel de Posmichael of Peace. The birth was celebrated across Spain and Portugal. This tiny infant was the Prince of Portugal, the Prince of Asturias, and the Prince of Girona, the heir to everything. The unification of Iberia was no longer a distant dream. It was embodied in this one small child. But fate, it seems, is a cruel mistress. The delivery had been incredibly difficult. Just an hour after giving birth to the heir of a united Iberia, Queen Isabella died from complications. She was only 27 years old. Her life, which had begun with so much promise and had been marked by such profound love and devastating loss, came to a sudden and tragic end. Her death sent shockwaves across the two kingdoms. King Manuel was heartbroken, having lost the woman he loved. The Catholic monarchs were devastated, having lost their beloved eldest daughter and the linchpin of their grand political project. All their hopes now rested on their infant grandson Miguel for 2 years. The fate of Iberia lay in the hands of a toddler. He was raised in Granada under the watchful eye of his grandparents, Ferdinand and Isabella. But the shadow of tragedy that had followed his mother seemed to cling to him as well. In the year 1500, just before his second birthday, little Miguel fell ill and died. With his death, the dream of a unified Iberian peninsula under a single crown died with him. The line of succession fractured once more. The crown of Spain would eventually pass to Isabella's younger sister Joanna, and through her to the Habsburg dynasty. Portugal would remain an independent kingdom for nearly another century. Isabella of Aragon's story is one of history's great what-ifs. What if her first husband hadn't died? What if she hadn't made her terrible demand of King Manuel? What if she or her son had lived? Her life was a whirlwind of political maneuvering, personal tragedy, and immense influence. Though she never ruled Spain herself, her choices as Queen of Portugal and her status as heiress forever altered the course of two nations. She was the queen who almost united an empire, but whose tragic fate ensured it would be torn apart. Her legacy is a powerful reminder of how the personal lives of royals can shape the destinies of millions. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the dramatic lives of history's most compelling figures. See you next time.